no many people can say well done.
No.
They don't, and if they do, they don't really mean it. Listen, as I sit here today, I'm a very privileged boy. Where I come from, boys weren't meant to do well.
Today's episode, I'm joined with John Horne from the JR Group.
And for me, first impressions last.
Yep.
That's whether it's on a site or showing up to do a survey. I think if you're nice, what you give out, you get back. Yous won't change, but people will change towards yous. What does it mean? You know, by God, I could write a book about it now. Listen, there's many times I think about that.
Hi guys, welcome to Taylor Talks Trades. I'm your host, Jamie Taylor. I hope you're enjoying the show, and if you are, why not let us know in the comments what you're liking most, and give us a subscribe to help us become the #1 trades podcast. In today's episode, I'm joined with John Horne from the JR Group. It's their 30th year anniversary, and he's taken us way back to the start, from his humble beginnings in Govan to becoming a professional football player alongside his first scaffolding job, to then starting his own business, and all the way through to now being recognised as one of Scotland's largest construction and scaffolding businesses. It's a really inspiring episode, and I trust that you'll be as inspired as I was. Let's get into the show. Welcome to the show, John.
Thanks, Jamie. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'll just go right back to the start where I always go. How did you get into the trades?
Well, basically I left school and became a full-time footballer at Clydebank, which was always my dream. But I was coming from Govan. I was always hungry to be successful. Football, I always thought I was going to play first team, and to be honest, we play for Rangers because it was a team I followed, grew up following. But there comes a time you realise what level you're going to get to. So I decided, it was a YTS at the time, £60 a week, and I thought I'm not going to get very far very quickly here. So I decided to go part-time with the football and get a job or a trade. And a cousin of mine worked with SGB, yep. And he says, why don't you come in here? So that's how I get into the scaffolding situation. So basically that was at 17, and I worked there for 6 years to the age of 23, which then started the JR journey.
Yep. And a wee bit on the football journey then, because that's quite exciting, even though it's not quite trade, but you're not getting away with just going, right, it's all scaffolding now.
the football thing was very exciting for me to start with. Whilst I was at SGB, because I was in a YTS and asked to go full-time in a job, it meant Clydebank had to release me, yep. Which they weren't very happy about at the time. So I went and played with Gifford North under-18s, which was basically the feeder club for Celtic. It was all their full-time boys. So I was doing all right there, getting the attention of one or two people. But whilst I'm doing this, I'm travelling to the games on a Saturday in an SGB transit. Mm-hmm. So I get a call, and Billy McNeil had asked me to go and trial for a fortnight, which was like, oh, right, okay. One, it's a big club, but two, I'm thinking about my dad. I'm thinking, oh, this isn't going to go down well, being a big Rangers family. But at this time, I'm going out with my wife and best pal, Anne-Marie. So we'd been out since we were 15, and her dad ran a Celtic bus for Govan. So you can imagine we've been over a few hurdles, and we're still together. So I went in trial, went in full time for a week, played in the reserves midweek. Actually man of the match on the Wednesday night, and then we played against the first team on the Saturday on the park because they were playing Clydebank in the semi-final of the Scottish Cup on the Sunday. So that was a bounce game against them, up against guys like McStay, Collins, and big Tommy Coyne, all these guys. Sunday we flew out to Spain, and on a Tuesday, first game was against Real Madrid, which I played. Didn't do particularly well. We beat 3-1, and then we played Ajax, and I think it was Sporting Gijon. Came back, didn't quite do the business, if I'll be honest, but I had one more opportunity, and that was at Hampden for the Glasgow Cup final, and they reckoned it was going to be 20,000 people. So that was a big, because then all of Glasgow would have known I've went in trial, yep. Which my pals and the rest of my family, I'd probably had to have went and stayed in the moon. But
so was this with the reserves?
The youth team under 18, under 18s,
right,
under 18s, Jamie. So anyway, the game was called off. It was waterlogged. So I don't know if that was a godsend, to be honest with you, but I then got a call that night from Leicester City to go down and play against Derby County. So I did that, went down, didn't get to train with the team, just met the boys basically in the dressing room, and it was a difficult one. It was you don't know MD, you're down there. It felt as if it was, miles and miles away, which it was.
Yeah.
So anyway, to sum it up, after the game, I've not played particularly well. I goes back to they gave me money for a fish supper and my train fare. So I walks into the train station. I says, "Mister, I'm looking for a train to Glasgow." He says, "Oh, that's the one that's just pulled away, son. Next one's 4 hours."
Oh, no.
So I'm sitting there, just feeling so sorry for myself. But anyway, I came back up the road and decided Hamilton Accies had shown interest, Billy McLaren. And I spoke to Billy and I thought, you know what, I'm going to sign. And it wasn't a big contract or anything, a couple of quid signing on.
Yep.
£40 a week, £40 a point, £40 appearance, all that kind of stuff. But I was with SGB, so I'm thinking, anything I get above that is a Brucey bonus.
And were they full-time then, Hamilton? Or
they were full-time, but I was going part-time.
So
there was a few part-time. Andy Millen, who went on to have a fantastic career, and there was a few.
So you're just like grafting and then training?
Yeah, training at night. Yeah, so you train with the reserves and stuff like that at night. So it was good. I enjoyed it. And next thing I know, I'm away doing pre-season with them. Because I thought I'll go there, work hard, get into the reserves, try and catch his attention.
Yeah.
But went away pre-season, played, scored my first touch actually against a team called Whitehill Welfare, and me and Hugh Burns, ex-Rangers. Aye, Shuggy crossed the ball, chest, bang, volley. So I thought, I'm running about as if it was against Barcelona, and I see all the guys looking as if, calm down, me man. So, but anyway, that took me on to the Wimbledons and the Halifaxes. So I played all these games. So I thought, I must have a wee chance. Anyway, Brecon in the Skull Cup was the first game up at Glebe, up at Brecon. And I came on with 20 minutes to go, done all right. So I'm thinking, I was more interested in the win bonus. I think it was like 300 quid. And I'm thinking, yeah, beauty. So, and then on Saturday against Falkirk at Brockville is the opening game, sun shining. And I'm working that morning. So I used to work every Saturday, Sunday with SGB because I was in $4.75 an hour. And if you worked a Saturday, it meant all your hours on the Sunday was double time.
Yep. So
I would work shirt and tie on, club suit on, and they used to always give me a van. The van was immaculate inside because I kept it clean.
The standards were there for that.
So I would club suit on, drive, park the van round the corner of the stadium. No, because I just didn't want to drive in. And so in the papers that morning, it was saying 18-year-old John Horne making his debut. So I thought, I might be playing today. Anyway, long story short, I started, scored in 7 minutes, which went on to win the goal of the season. And I get sent off in the 47th minute. So I missed the Celtic Skull Cup game midweek at Douglas Park. They beat us 1-0. Jackie Giaconossi scored, or else I would have been playing in that, which would have been, having been in trial just 6 weeks earlier, it would have been nice to play in.
That's
in
crazy,
score.
eh?
So, but that aside, I was doing that and working with SGB Youngmen, it became at this point, and I was enjoying life. What
were you doing with him? What was the...
So I started off as a sales rep.
Yeah.
They put me in the road very early with a nice wee car and all this kind of stuff. And then I went to the Youngman side, which was the light access side.
Yep.
So I was then running the diary for building alloy towers.
Right.
Basically how I started JR. That's
Aye.
it. So did that for 6 years. Josh was born 2 days after my 21st, then with Reagan. So hence the reason JR's for Josh and Reagan. So at 23, a big friend of mine, he's like a father figure, Andy Smiley. I used to train at night in the Moat House Hotel. It's now the Crown Plaza. So I'd be training in there. And Andy's a larger life guy. At that time, and still to this day, one of the biggest independent scaffolder companies in Scotland. And I kind of used the language he used to ask me the way he asked me, but he say, "Here, why are you not working for yourself?" Because I knew Andy, because I used to go and sell scaffold boards and other products to him. So we're sitting in a steam room, and I mean, he's a larger in life. And listen, I used to be, still to this day annoy him because he's a great guy. The whole family, I wouldn't be here. They've helped us get
just a right character as well.
Yes,
somebody just kind of.
Oh, he's a right character.
And,
aye. Google him after this. And so I says, I wouldn't. What do you mean? He says, why don't you build your own towers? And I right. So gave me a wee bit of food for thought. With £1,100 in the bank, me and Amreen savings, 2 young kids. So, I was, you're 23, you're nervous.
Early 20s as well, aye.
So a couple of weeks later, I says, Andy, I was thinking about that. What do I need to do? And he says, get yourself a 714 card. So we done all that. Go to the all that in place. So after a few weeks, we get that. We set up a wee business, JR Scaffolding Services. So we're all excited.
Was that the equivalent to like Company's House, for example, or something back
No,
then, where you would almost say, or was that a self-employed
thing? And you used to give
like
people
your
a
UTR
chitty.
number now
Aye,
kind
aye,
of thing?
aye.
Right,
So that's, and you used to give people a chitty when you'd done a job for
right.
them. So that was great. And I says, Andy, listen, I've done all that. Right, that's good, son. I says, listen, do I get a PO box? No, you know, and his choice of words.
Colourful language,
yes,
also.
yes. No, you can't. Nobody would work with you. Nobody Jews you if you're a PO box. Just use my address. So it was 572 Duke Street, which was an office made of porta cabins, which you had, and to explain to you, you've been some weeks collecting mail, and Big Richard Goff would be in, or Ian Ferguson, or everybody, you know, knew, or Walter Smith would be on the phone to Big Andy, because he's very well known Rangers man and Rangers family. So Andy says, use my address. So I used that address for 2 years, and he gave me a wee bit of his yard, which, listen, we'll never ever forget. So that's how we started, and then until we were in a position to go and get our own wee yard. And from there, our first wee yard was in Renfrew, and then we moved on, and then we've been great. Morrison Swattis with George Morris gave us a shed down in Helen Street in Govan, and there's a reason for saying the Helen Street thing. Helen Street in Govan, which was the next big step for us.
Yep.
And then from there to Elder Park Workspace in Govan, which was, again, getting bigger. So we're getting all excited, and the business was growing. And at the beginning, Jamie, it wasn't about making money.
Mm-hmm.
I was more interested in being the best at what we'd done. Aluminium Towers is what we started with. Mm-hmm. I was adamant that there was a company there that we used to look up to. They still go to this day, to be honest with you. And I thought, right, that's where I want to get to. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because there's a guy back then when we first started, and I've got no ill feeling against this guy, but I always remember he was in the company, and he had a scaffold company, and he was in the company of a few of his guys, and to this day, he's older than me, a lot older, and I remember saying, son, you're wasting your time. He says, listen, just stop. Come, we'll give you work. We'll sub you work. Just come to us. Mm-hmm. And I says, no, listen, I've took the plunge. I've done all the things. I'm going to give it a go anyway. You're wasting your time. Listen, there's many times I think about that. Mm-hmm. Not in a bad way, but as an inspirational
driver, though.
Oh, aye. Because anybody trying to put me down before I started was never going to happen. Yep. And it wouldn't be due to hard work anyway, because we always had that in us. So the before we got to all that, the first working out at Andy's, we used to have a desk at the bottom of the bed. So it was funny. Me and Amri, we look back, listen, with a bit of pride and with a few giggles, because we had a typewriter and with a fax machine at the bottom of the bed.
So this is on the house, but you've got the yard space at Andy's.
Andy's with the yard space. So we used to work.
I was just making sure you didn't have a bed in Andy's yard there. I was thinking that would have been even better. But
no, it wasn't quite that. No, but so what we'd do is I'd come home from work because I had to build the scaffold. I had to build the towers.
Yep.
So I'd be there building, and we'd come home. We'd have the kids fed and watered, and we'd get them bathed, and then into the car. So even like Stirling, so if we stayed in Renfrew at the time, right, we need to head to Stirling, and I've got a job I need to look at. So we'd go through there, kids would be sleeping, get all the details. Next day, Amri would send out the quote by fax or by post, whatever way it was to come in. Yep. So we'd done that for a wee bit until we managed to get, as I say, then a proper wee office space. When Andy gave us his office, it was only for a mail drop. It was somewhere where mail could go to, and it looked a wee bit more professional.
Yeah. If somebody looked you up, they went, oh, well,
yes,
they're in there.
Yes,
that probably.
Yes.
A bit of clout almost.
Yes, definitely. And I think also in the days when we started, we probably get a lot less hassle with stuff being stolen and stuff like that because of the tie-in with Big Andy.
That makes sense.
So, as I say, things started to grow, and then we had a couple of stints in Govan, and the last yard in Govan was Elder Park Workspace. So we're in there, and then we were with the Clydesdale Bank, and the lease was up, and I thought, right, we're not going to extend because it wasn't big enough, and we're going to need to look. So there was a yard come up in Paisley. It's in the Renfrew side of the motorway, but the postcode is Paisley. Mm-hmm. The Clydesdale Bank. It was an unfortunate situation. It was a company called Brookfield Electrical, and when I gets there, the guy Danny, the owner's in the place, so I felt really bad. So he's in there, the administrators are in, and I says, I feel, Dan, I'm really sorry, but you want me to come back? No, come in. And it was funny because he gave me a wee insight to where he was, you know, if he turning out X amount and doing very well one year, doubling it the next year and going bust.
Yep.
And maybe it's taking an eye off the ball, I don't know, but I kept that up here anyway.
Losing control.
Yes. And we spoke about it earlier. It's the same as us just now. People probably think our turnover's a lot greater than what it is. It certainly could be, but Big Andy Smiley has always says to me, always, when we've been on holiday in Dubai or whatever, and we've been a few times, if he could press a button the day and go back to my size, he would do it. You know, and that's always stuck in my head, always. And I used to think, right, okay, what does he mean by that? And I do know what he means.
It's just to pull the reins in, isn't it? And just have that wee bit.
So we've got a nice wee turnover, a nice wee set up where we're in control. You know, and if we need, if John Jack and his team need more scaffold, then we look at it, we look at the figures and say, right, okay, we can go get a package, or we need another van, right, okay, let's do it. And that's how we've always done it. The journey has been fantastic. It's been fantastic. As I said to you earlier, there's Anne-Marie and I have been out for 15, and even with this journey, there's times where I'd have chucked it. There's times where I'd have called it a day because, you know, you get a few kicks in the teeth, you know, and you think, oh no, I can't cope with this. Or people owe you money and you've got a VAT return, and this was in the early days. And then taking us on to 2000, we get to Yard and Paisley, sorry, so that way we puts an offer in for that. We gets that, which is great. We're still there today, 16 years later, and again, we've outgrown it.
So see at this point, like, so you were saying, so it was you and Anne-Marie in the car, kids in the back, you're quoting, then you're actually putting towers up. Is it just yous at this point, or is there like a few guys working for you? No,
just one guy, one van. So each day I knew I had to cover like the price of one guy and one van, because we used to lease the van. So, and that's what we've done.
So it was just very much like sort of hand to mouth almost.
Oh, just definitely.
When did it turn then? When did it sort of, was this when you started looking at the yard, or was that, did you grow a bit before then?
No, as we started getting, you know, Youngmans, when I left Youngmans, I was running their operation.
So you knew people and stuff.
I knew people, and by the way, you know, as you do, you're hungry, you go chapping doors, and people say, oh, no bother, wee man, listen, I'll give you a wee shout, and then it went up. And I remember saying to Amity this time, Jesus, we turned to our £4,000 this month. I was earning £1,100 working for them. So the only client we never took from them, which was a big setup, was Glasgow University. So each Christmas, I still do it to this day, you know, if some companies can't accept a bottle of whiskey at Christmas now, so you make a wee donation or whatever, stuff like that. But I used to drop a couple of bottles into Glasgow Uni, even though I wasn't getting any work, because I'd done all the work well with Youngmans. SGB still got the work. So I always remember, Jamie, this one Christmas, and 2 days before Christmas, I gets a call out, listen, we fella, he come in and see us. I says, right, and this is maybe me 3 years into our journey. And I goes in, and there's a pane of glass it's hanging out over a doorway, and they're panicking. We need to get up to there. SGB says they can't do it. I says, all right. So I thought, I can. You know, so it was 28 metres high. So me and Raymond, the boy at work with, so I'm up there, arms like a orangutan at the end of it, pulling up the gear, and we gets it up, and they says, listen, for security reasons, can you get it done after Boxing Day? I says, absolutely no problem. So they gets that fixed. Again, you don't know what it's going to lead to you. That probably led for the next, you know, for year 4 onwards, I probably turned out about £500,000 a year in Glasgow University.
Wow.
Just for that one. That one emergency.
But that's when like opportunity meets sort of preparation, I think to say. It's like
absolutely.
you were just waiting for the chance.
Waiting for the chance. And that even still happens today. That's still, and I tell my team, listen, even if you get a couple of jobs off a client and they use somebody else, keep doing the wee jobs and showing them what we can do, because somebody might drop the ball, and we've dropped the ball as well. Listen, we've all done it. We're not perfect. It happens. So that's where we went, and as I say, the business has grown and grown, and it's got to a stage now where I'm in every day, but it's more business development. You've got John, Jack, Caelan, they've got their team, and they've got my 2 sons in there as well, Josh and Evan. But we wouldn't be where we are today foot the team.
Yeah.
And it's took us a bit of time. 30th anniversary, it's a great year for us. We're buzzing about a lot of things. But these people put their heart and soul into it. Kellyanne's been there since she was 16. She started, and I always remember she couldn't even answer the phone. She was nervous. And again, going back to starting Kellyanne, I always remember when she came for the interview, she had been down to the yard on the Sunday with her mum on the bus.
Right.
Like me and Amory, we come from Govan, she came from Penalea. So I says to her, that's good. That wee lassie's jumped
Just
in the bus.
scoped it out a wee bit and understood
see
where
how
she
long
was
the
coming.
bus would take and
Aye.
all this. I said, I quite like that. Came in and she's like a daughter to us now, and I think 24 years or something she's been there.
Wow.
Something like that. It's
incredible when you can do that for people, but they can equally do it for you. Because you need people like that actually want to come into a business and actually just make it be something, but it's not theirs as well. Because a lot of people will come in and then they'll work their way through and then they'll go, right, I'll maybe go into something else, or I'll start up myself, or whatever. You see it a lot, but it's like having somebody who cares enough but wants to be employed.
We've got that in abundance, to be honest with you. Listen, we try and look after the staff, and I think that's done for them to tell you or people what we do for them. But we've always maintained, if we do well, they do well. And we do that even as of today as well.
When did you realise you were going to need like that team, if you know what I mean? So you would have obviously, you were kind of doing everything yourself in those early days.
Yeah.
When did you start to think, I'll need to kind of take a step back for this?
Well, probably as we were growing, Jim. I remember Amory, so we had 4 kids under the age of 5, and we were only 25, so we had a family very young. And I remember she was in doing wages, like hours before giving birth to...
Did they know hotels back then?
We just couldn't afford one. But she was in doing the wages and stuff like that, and then we realised, right, it's maybe time to try and get somebody into the office. And I think just you go with instinct, right?
Yeah.
Like, Amory, you need to be a hand now. And we were blessed with our families.
Yeah.
My mum and dad, who we lost around about COVID, Amory's mum gave up her job and we took her on. So it's basically to watch the kids.
Yeah.
So we paid her a salary, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We've been blessed with that. And that's how we try and do our bit now. We've got 4 lovely grandkids that we try and do our wee bit. I take a Monday off. I couldn't afford to do it with my own 4. So I babysit on a Monday with Amory, and it's great. It's great memories. But going back to the question, it was just, I think as the journey's moving, you realise you need a wee hand.
You feel it, I think, as well, don't you? It's like you feel like the pressure point, like I couldn't possibly work any more hours, or this person who's doing that bit, there's physically no more they could do. It must be time for us to just get a wee extra bit of help.
Aye, that happened, Jamie. I remember, the kids growing up, to be honest, particularly Josh and Reagan, probably the only downside for me is there's a lot that I don't quite remember, because you're out doing 12, 14-hour shifts, trying to give them what you never had. So I don't live a life of regrets about that. You need to do things to make them good. But you also, there was one time where I keeled over in the kitchen and I ended up in for a week, and it was just exhaustion. So you think you're super... you can just keep going and going and going. The body tells you different, and that's when we realise, and then I managed to bring a pal of mine in, Mark Donachie, who was a great footballer. He played with full-time at Celtic and went on to play with a lot of first teams. Marky came in and worked with us, and then we just started adding and adding, and it was great. And the journey kind of started. Listen, some people came and went, but of late, the last 10, 15 years, the engine of the scaffold business has never changed. Yeah. We've got the same people.
It's set. You know what's happening in there.
And they all know their roles.
It's got its kind of vision, its core values, all this stuff. The culture's there.
Absolutely.
It's a good place to get to.
And as I say, it's been great. We've had a few dunts in the road. I'll go back to 2009. 2009. I was driving to work that morning, and I had the radio Clyde on, and it was a call saying that Connaught were a FTSE 100 company. I'd went into administration. Jesus, I nearly drove the car through a hedge because we'd been doing a lot of work for them at the time. They owed us 350 grand. So that was a wake-up call. And I believe things happen for a reason. I think it's karma. I believe in all that. And I just think that was a wake-up call as to, listen, start looking after the pennies. I gets into the office, and they owed us 430 actually. They paid us 80 the Friday before, which I suppose is better than nothing.
Yep.
So we went in and everybody's just, oof, what do we do now, and stuff like that. And listen, I wasn't the only one. Graham Roof and Danny Graham, good friend of ours, lost a lot of money as well. Those people lost their houses and stuff like that. I then had to shut my door because you've got to put a face on. The staff are all panicking, they're going to lose their jobs. And we had a meeting that afternoon, and I says, right, this is how it's going to go. There's going to be phone calls, there's going to be this, I don't want MD over talking it, or if MD asks you, yep, we get caught out, yep, we get done as well. That's it, end of. Nobody's going to lose their jobs. We're going to tighten the belt, and we're going to push on. We're going to push on. And I swear to this day, it made us a much better company. Following year, our turnover was down $1 million, but we made the same profit, which maybe tells me I was a busy fool anyway. So, but we made it clear to the staff, and probably I was a wee bit over the top. So what I did say, if I heard anybody dwelling on the phone about it, then they would be paid off. Yeah. Because unfortunately, in the world we live in, people like to pat you in the back. There's people also like to see the odd banana skin. So, and I hate to say that, but it's the truth, isn't it? It's a truth. It's a truth. You know,
try and chop you down a bit.
Yes, aye. So, there's a conversation I had with another scaffolding guy. I'll not go into the details, but he met me some weeks later and thought it was, how are you, wee man? I says, I'm fine, aye. I'm not thinking about this. I'm watching my boy playing football. And he says, you all right? Aye. And I says, aye. Why? He says, oh, I heard about the Connaught thing. And I says, aye. I said, it was a sore one. He went, sore one, 500 grand. So in a matter of weeks, it's adding up. And I says, try 550. So just that, you know.
Definitely.
Again, listen.
To you, it's no water under the bridge at that point, but you've decided I'm moving forward. So
Jamie, I couldn't do anything about it.
Like,
it was out of our hands.
You can't control it.
No, I couldn't control it.
So I take it then, I think I know the answer, but so you wouldn't change that? No. Has it done too much for you? I know it's 350 grand, but
well, it wasn't even overdue. That was the problem. The money that was overdue, they'd paid. Yep. So, listen.
So in theory, you hadn't actually done anything wrong.
No. You're putting your trust. You're putting your trust in a FTSE 100, so you don't expect somebody like that to go.
You think
bust.
Your money's safe? Actually,
you think it's safe. Aye. So listen, it's easy to sit back now and talk about it. At the time, listen, there was sleepless nights. You're thinking, Jesus, everything we've worked for and we've managed to build a wee war chest. But listen, it's firstly, nobody had taken ill. Because first and foremost, anything I do and have done over the last 30 years, as long as my wife and family and now my grandkids and extended family are well, then that's all that matters.
You can always make money.
Exactly.
You can always find a way to make more money.
Go and work that wee bit harder. And sometimes I think karma again, your luck changes. And listen, as I sit here today, I'm a very privileged boy. Where I come from, boys weren't meant to do well. You weren't meant to do well. There's no two ways about that. And even though Sir Alex Ferguson, Govan High boy, I'm a Govan High boy, and there's guys who have certainly been on in Govan, and I can name a right few. But there's always that element. He's not done that. He's up to no good. Or people can't. I don't know if it's a West of Scotland thing, if it's just a Scottish thing or a British thing. I don't know. No many people can say well done.
No,
they don't. And if they do, they don't really mean it.
It's because they can't quantify it in their mind.
Yes.
But even I'm in business, and when I'm hearing your numbers, your turnover, what you're doing, and everything, it mesmerises me. But in my mind, I'm not oh, it must be dodgy. It's I'm like, all right, there's just other levels that I've not yet unlocked, and I'm and it's just I think it's just people can't understand it, so they just attach something else to it.
Absolutely. And listen, again, one thing about JR Scaffold, we try and look on negativity, even in the office in the morning. I mean, it sounds maybe a bit, but I make sure everybody, it's good morning. Yep. Good morning. That good morning means a hell of a lot to me, and it did when I was a young guy. You don't know what people's got going on in their own world, so maybe that wee good morning cheers them up first thing. So we do that, and if you ever come to our office one day, you'll leave, and I guarantee you'll say to me, I know exactly what you're talking about, because the staff, they're bubbly, they get their work done, they have a laugh, they make you very welcome, and for me, first impressions last. That's whether it's on a site or showing up to do a survey. I think if you're nice, what you give out, you get back.
Mm-hmm.
And going back 30 years ago, Big Andy says to me and Amry, listen, I'm going to tell you two things. He says, treat people the way you want to be treated back. He says, 9 times out of 10 it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, yous won't change, but people will change towards yous. Now, bear in mind, we're 23, 2 kids, sleepless nights. We're in the car and we generally like, what does he mean? By God, I could write a book about it now.
Wow.
I definitely know what he means. And it was the best bit of advice we've taken, along with a lot of other stuff off him as well. But back then, and I've used that with a lot of people, I say to people it's setting up business. And I would like to think, sitting here today, people would say, if the door was to open, that my door's always open.
Yeah.
I'm never in, there's a company through in Edinburgh, Scaffold Company, I've spoke to on several occasions, just with different wee things. Because, listen, there's enough out there for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough out there for everybody.
It's a collaboration, and
aye,
there isn't a lot that comes for like lack and scarcity and that's all ours, and like that mentality. I don't think it's good having a bit of drive and determination and want to be the best,
100%,
be a winner. But sometimes by sort of opening up that wee bit and sharing that wee bit of knowledge, it kicks you on a bit as well.
I think
when you're telling somebody something, you actually then say to yourself, oh, actually, I'm giving them good advice here, but I should be taking that advice back on myself. Absolutely. I've let this slip a wee bit or something.
And by the way, sometimes, as I say, things happen for a reason. I think there's things that pop up and you go, what's happened there? But it's all for a reason, and sometimes a wee scare here or there, it makes you, and probably one of the biggest problems I've got with GR is I've probably never recognised just to where they've got to. And I'm talking about scaffolding here. With a guy came in to see us last year, and he supplies scaffolding all around Scotland. And he says to us, to me and John and a couple of the guys, you have set the standards in Scotland. And I says, well, what do you mean? Because there's a lot bigger than us. He says, the way you kit yourselves out, the way all your guys look the same, the Ford Rangers, he says, since you've done the Ford Rangers, how many companies have now got Ford Rangers wrapped? He says, you were probably the first out there. He says, it's incredible. He says, I'm in Aberdeen last week. He says, and a guy says to me, do you know GR? What about the way they kick about? And it's not till somebody tells you that, Jamie. You know, I don't do it for that reason. And I'll go into a wee quick story about the workwear. The workwear takes me back to my upbringing in Govan. Govan High didn't have a uniform policy. Right. And when you come from a kind of poor background, and I did come from a poor background, but so did many people. So I'm not belittling my mum or dad or anybody, but that's just how it was. If it wasn't a clothing grant, it was a Provi check to get you clothes for starting back. And then latterly it was Freeman's Catalogue, which, they started doing a wee bit of name stuff. So, but I always felt under pressure at school, particularly Govan High, because you're at a stage where, you're trying to impress the girls, you're trying to, you think you're going to be the next Ali McCoy's, but you're going to build that paraffin lamp, you've not really got the clays to back it up. Yep. That's always stuck with me, always. So I always maintained for the minute that I was big enough, and I thought with the respect, I would make sure that my guys never felt that way coming to work, or the girls in the office, because the girls all wear navy blue. Now, they're not set to a certain uniform, because some girls are comfy in certain clothes. Yep. But I say to them, right, listen, go to Slater's, Marks and Spencer's, go wherever it is, as long as it's navy blue, you pick, get a few, and we'll reimburse you. Yep. The boys all wear the same. We all wear Under Armour. We get it kitted out with the NASC, and, this year, the 30th anniversary. And I always think first impressions last. If you show up and you look respectable, I think the barrier goes down a wee bit.
Absolutely.
So, but that was the reason for it. I just didn't want people, some places you go in and some guys have got nice shirts, nice ties. I thought, well, I'll take that whole thing away and everybody will look the same. So I'm no different for the supervisors. I'm no different. And I wear the same kit. I drive the same car. And that's the way, and for me, it's worked. And you see the boys take that pride in it. Their wives moan because the amount of stuff we do give them, believe it or not, because they're not, listen, tell them no more. But I'm like that. I just think, we've got the golf day coming up to celebrate our 30th anniversary. And right now, all the kit's in so that all the GR staff are looking the same on the day.
It's so important.
Oh,
like,
definitely.
It's a brand. And people like are going to respect it so much more if they actually see it and see what you're putting into it.
Absolutely.
It's like you said, first impressions is everything. But you see branded vehicle, nice branded guy, whatever he's there, where he's estimating a job, doing the job, whatever. It's like, it's...
Don't get me wrong, listen, I got them all Under Armour trainers last year, which, because I think the world has changed and sometimes you can go a wee bit more casual to things.
Yep.
A wee bit OCD, so some of them don't keep the trainers just as clean as I'd like. So I did keep a wee bit of Eric. There's one wee guy in particular.
Have you got them branded with the JR on there, or did you not go as far
No,
as
no,
that?
no, I
That would have
didn't
been
go
quite
that.
cool.
No, I didn't go that far. But listen, as I say, I think it looks the part, you know, and there will be people who make comment. Of course, you can't stop that. But I just think it takes the pressure off of people.
Sometimes you can't win though. Like I've seen it. Like when we first started, it was really important. Like sign written vans and branded uniforms and all the rest of it. But then like you keep adding to that, and then I think at some point people are like, oh, they must have too much money to be branding everything like that. But then all of a sudden your clientele just changes. The ones who actually didn't want to sort of pay for a respectable looking company, they'll go with the white van man.
Absolutely.
That's, you know, the van's maybe a bit rusted up or whatever, and
that was a problem.
And that's fine though. It's just a evolution and a progression. You're not going to go, well, we'll just look scruffy then so that we can
to please
us. So
but you're right,
you've
there,
got to find your kind of what's important to you.
You find the clientele. You know, we deal with a lot bigger companies as well now. So, but back in the day, you didn't want to give that impression that was a problem. You know, I remember one time back at the beginning, I bought myself first time I could buy a nice car. I had it 6 weeks and get rid of it. I went back to a Berlingo van because people were passing comment and Anne-Marie, listen, you know, as I say, it's been a great team effort. You know, there's things that I've done in life that I probably regret, you know, and as in decisions that I've made that I probably didn't listen to her, and there's decisions that I've done where she says, you know, and sometimes it's easier to make a big decision when you look behind you and your rock saying to you, go for it, you know, so, but there is times where at the beginning, and she says, I don't think getting the car's a good idea, you know, but I would, at that age, naive, immature, and I'd say, so, well, I'm doing 14-hour shifts a day and I want to drive that. I don't think it's a good idea though.
It is a well, you said, is it west of Scotland? Is it Scotland? Is it Britain? I think it probably is Britain for everybody I've spoke to. I think Scotland is worse. But like, see if you go to America, like that stuff's like, they love that. It's like, whoa, this guy's like doing brilliant with roofing, scaffolding, whatever. Like, look at his car, like that's amazing. And it's like, look at all the stuff that like it's so celebrated. Then here, it's like you said, coming from that Govan background. Like it should be celebrated, but like,
Jamie, that even goes as far as I remember I'd bought a Range Rover Overfinch. It was the first one. It was actually belonged to the Boy Ross Park at Parks of Hamilton, and I was all excited, black, and anyway, I got it. But bear in mind where we were based. We're based in Govan. And I remember this morning, I've got a delivery going to Glasgow Uni at 6 o'clock with a high-ab before the traffic picks up. So I was going over to meet the high-ab, make sure they put it down, make sure the grass was protected. And I remember just before I go to Squinty Bridge, I seen the cops doing a Berlin follow me, and next thing they pulled me in. Where are you going? Or you know, and I says to the cop, I says, if this was a Chinkochenko, would you have stopped me? And he's like, hey, what are you talking about? You know, I says, listen, I've got a delivery coming, and again, I get rid of that. Because that wasn't the only time I get stopped. Now, again, so the mentality, it's not just the normal people. It's a mentality sometimes of guys wearing uniforms.
Society in general.
Yes, well, there's a big car. And so there was times where
and what are they thinking, like drug dealer, gangster type thing?
Got to be but I don't know any of these guys that kick about at 6 a.m. waiting in high-ab deliveries. But anyway, but again, that's the mentality. So, but I get rid of it again. I sold it to a pal who then had to sell that on again, believe it or not, because he was getting the same kind of nonsense. But again, the Rangers, Amri was very much for, let's go for something we can advertise. And first of all, it was good. I know it's changed on the old tax front, but it was good. I think there's something like 14 in the fleet now. And it's great when you're in the motorway.
13 of them just came in before the tax change there.
They did. Well, they're not in yet, as long as you put the order in. So me and my business partner for construction, which I'll talk about, we get ours in May, but the boys, as long as we're done before April, then the boys. And I says to them, listen, this will be our last hurry sort of thing. I say, so it all depends how well you look after them and keep them, make sure they're maintained for the next 3-4 years, whatever. So you keep your tax down. So the incentive is on you. So, but no, again, I think it's a mentality thing, you know, and But again, overall, it's great to be sitting here today, and I'm ecstatic about where we are in life. My daughter stays in Dubai, doing very well. My oldest daughter's a dentist. The two boys are doing great in the business. We're full-time footballers, didn't quite. They played first team, but didn't quite make the grade. So they're in now, they're learning the ropes. They're coming along nicely. 4 beautiful grandchildren, which is probably the best chapter of my life. Billy, Frankie, Sonny and Parker. So, but no, there's always people worse off. And that's the way I look at life, and I always try and get up in the morning with a smile on my face and say, what, let's go on, mate. And can you do something nice today for somebody? And can you make $1? And that's what I do. And I'm a breadhead. Listen, I don't make any excuses. As life comes on, I see, you've got family, you've got kids, grandkids. I want to try and make their lives, when we're no here, a wee bit easier.
Well, remembering back to like those early days, like although it makes you, it doesn't mean you want it for them. It's, it's like you try and find a way to give them the same ethics and morals and the hard work ethic, but a bit easier, essentially, because
they don't get it easy. A lot of people, and it's a shame, from the outside, people don't know is probably assume. As I say, Ellis is now working for the main news channel in Dubai, has done very well. Reagan, dentist, is doing incredibly well. And the two boys have came in, and it's difficult coming in as the owner's sons.
Yeah.
And I met them, but they can't be me. I say to them, just be yourselves. But as long as you've got the work ethic, but always remember, the world's watching. What you do is what others will follow. So you need to set an example. And as I say, they're coming along nicely. Me and Amy's just turned 53. I'm 53 in a couple of weeks, which, there's a wee bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Not quite yet. I like still a wee bit still to go, but we'll be there to shoulder some of the responsibility with them. But I'm hoping one day that they can take over. But as I say, with that and with the John Jacks and the Kellans this world and all the other girls in the office, I'm sure they'll get there.
You must take so much pride as well in having built something so big that's looked after so many people. Like obviously your family first, and then the extended family that comes for that, and then the grandkids. But like the amount of people you've employed, and I'm sure lots of them have been with you for so many years. The way you're giving back in there, like it's a bit of a dent, like in the world.
It's a worry. It's a worry as well, Jamie. You sometimes you sit back and you think, oh, it's a lot of mortgages, But it's also great when you see somebody coming on, especially from our postcode. And there's been many, and I'll not mention them, but there's people who've came and worked with us who have probably harder upbringings than I had growing up, Govan. It's brilliant to see them getting their first mortgage and and becoming fathers and all that kind of stuff. It's great, and I sit back sometimes think that's brilliant, and but again, they've worked hard for it, these people. It's not been given to them their plate. They've came in, worked hard. We've only gave them the tools.
And you can facilitate it, but it's down to the individual. The same as you with your chances. Like when Big Andy gave you the chance, you could have milked it or something, and just been kind of like, but the fact that you were driven, you probably wanted to, I'll get out of this yard, I'll go and get my own thing. Like it drives you when people give you a wee bit of a bit of belief. You go, I want to actually prove to them even more rather than.
We didn't want to kick the backside with it, Jamie, as well. With Big Andy's situation, 2 years was a long time, but it wasn't a long time, if that makes sense. Before we knew it, we were 2 years in.
Fast.
But, that family in particular lost their daughter, young Emmy. So even today, we try and we've always tried to give back to charities, and that was a dreadful, dreadful time in their lives. A wonderful lassie, really, really great. Great fun. I always remember it was Amy's 40th in London, and she helped me set up all the gigs, the shows to go to and stuff like that. And I think she booked the most expensive one she could find, right enough. But it was sad for them, and that charity foundation still goes today. And it'll always be our number one charity. I make no bones about that, or I don't make any excuses. So that's still going. But also JR Scaffold's mentality has always been, if we can give a little back, if we're in a position to give a little back, we'll always do it. So this year, being our 30th anniversary, we've already sponsored the Men Matter Ball, the men's mental health, raised 94 grand that night. It's a wonderful charity because in the construction world alone, the amount of men losing their lives it's unthinkable. Next we've got a wee private party at the house to celebrate the 30th. So we've got old guests, old clients, family, friends coming along. And then on the Monday, we've got the golf day. Now, the golf day would normally be a charity day, but we're not doing that. We're doing it purely as a thank you. So nobody's having to put money in, buy wrap. It's not like that. It would have been for the Emmy Smiley charity, but they have their own golf day at Loch Lomond.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to take any limelight away from that. So what we're doing next for us, I'm doing the West Highland Way in June for the charity. And I touched on earlier, it's not out in the open yet. It will be probably the time this comes out, but over 30 years, I've collected a lot of memorabilia, whether it be golf, boxing, football tops. We've gave a lot away also, but what we've got left, and there's a hell of a lot of it, is going to go, Blue Parrot are going to put it on a live auction, and all money's raised will be our way of saying thank you to the charity again for 30th anniversary. So they don't know that yet. Anne-Marie and I, it's known that we're going to get rid of this stuff, but we've decided that because of what they'd done for us 30 years ago, it would be a nice way. We had a ball in our 25th anniversary. We raised 112 grand for the charity that night.
Wow.
So, but because we're not having a specific, golf day or anything else, we thought what we'll do is we'll keep that one up our sleeve and we'll give that to the charity. And
That's
then we finished the year off with, we've got 65 tables, 650 people in the Hilton in William Street. And it's all for reverse rent. Again, I says I would never do another ball, but clients of ours, and I'll call them friends as well, the McMasters, the roofing boys. Brian McMaster was the biggest roofer in Glasgow at one point. Scott's young girl Kay has got Rett syndrome, and he's always says to me since our ball in for our 25th anniversary, would you do one? And I say, no, I'm not doing another one.
Is it just such an undertaking?
Listen, we had a great help. We had great help from Frill Events, to be honest, on that one. We had great help, and it was a great night. It was a kind of winter theme, just before lockdown again in December.
Yep.
And I just thought, no, I'm not doing it, big man. But anyway, long story short, we're out in December for a lunch pre-Christmas. Second bottle of red wine in, high five and rip, I'm doing it. So the next thing I know, I've got a London band flying up. We've got this, we've got George Bowie playing. We've got 65 tables.
Wow.
It only went out the other day, and we've sold over half. So it's a terrible illness. She'd be sold a living, and I think when you see a wee kid who can't tell their mum and dad she loves them or all these things. So we thought, no, what, let's do it. So we're there, but it's their night. It's their night. So that'll finish, hopefully, God willing, a great year.
Aye, brilliant. And what about your recent awards?
Aye, we were through in Edinburgh, through in the capital. Came out the blue. We'd been shortlisted for Best Family Business in Britain, and we thought it was a wind-up, to be honest with you.
I mind you saying to me, because we were on the phone before you were going away on holiday, and you were going, I'm not sure about this thing. And Sir Bob Geldof was
he was speaking, Sting played a wee bit, and then the guys at Jones, what's the boy, the comedian guy?
And he asked me off the cuff, I always go like that. And
Rob, is it Rob? Anyway, it was brilliant, you know who it is.
Bryden.
That's who it was, Rob Bryden.
See, I did get it.
That's the guy. So there was 1,600 people there. I mean, First Ministers, everybody, Lord Hockey, just there was a who's who. But anyway, our table's up the back, so I knew we weren't winning. But listen, pardon me, to be shortlisted,
that's unbelievable.
We don't even know who put us forward.
So it's just So you just
we don't know.
It's not even like something you entered. It's just somebody's put us in.
And we went along. Listen, we were on the dance floor. As I says in my post on LinkedIn, we didn't get a dance, but hey, you still got to be there, aren't you?
No,
you can't get a dance if you're not on the dance floor. So, definitely. But no, listen, as I say, the company has done very well. The team's done us very well. They've done us well. A lot of the awards we get, it's not down to us, it's down to them. Down to the work ethic, the hours they put in. Very loyal, and I don't think it's something you can buy nowadays. No. I really don't. I don't think there's enough of it. So we'll always be blessed with that, always. And as I say, over and above that, 2016, we then started the arm of JR Construction.
Yep.
Which has been great. We've had some tough years, COVID there. So Gary McGregor and I became partners. Gary was 21 years with CCG. and I'd left the parted company, and I'd phoned him, says, "You fancy a coffee? Sorry to hear what's happened." And to be fair, we met up, and it was November. And I says, "Listen, sorry to hear what happened." He couldn't talk about it because it was still the fortnight thing.
Yeah.
And he says, "That is what it is, but I've got a few options." And I'd no intentions. I'd only met Gary a couple of times, played golf with him. And before the end of the meeting, I says to him, "You never fancy working for a smaller company and building it up?" He's like, "Who?" I says, "Well, we've got a construction side that it just
Does a bit,
does
but
a
it's
bit.
no.
I don't."
Yep.
I says, "It's there." I says, "I'll give you 50-50. Don't need to put money in." And after I felt a bit, I thought, "Oh dear, why did I ask that?" Because I knew he was a big player with a big company.
Yep.
Anyway, listen, that aside, so December, I'm due to go to Florida with the kids, and he says, "Listen," I says, "I'd give you a wee phone once I'd made a decision to catch up with you." So met him start Costa again, and we goes in. He says, "Listen, 4 options, blah blah blah." He says, "I'm going to go number 4. "Oh, who's that?" He went, "I was thinking about yous." So I'm thinking, oh dear, where does this go? I went, "Really?" But this time I find out what he really was on and stuff like that.
Oh,
I'm thinking,
no.
oh no. But listen, to be fair to him, he took a much reduced salary, so that was his way of putting his bit in,
His buy-in almost.
and his knowledge.
Yep.
Listen, he was always set. We're very different in more ways. Gary wasn't always about making money. He wanted to be the best out there. Where I'm that far down the line now. I'm thinking, no, let's be both.
Yeah.
But he's
You've had that bit of becoming the best and then earning the money, and it's actually, do you want to go through that struggle of just becoming the best again to wait later on?
Well, Jamie, the thing is, becoming the best.
You become a bit commercially aware and astute to go, we need to make a pound note of it, basically.
Absolutely. But to become the best, when it was the aluminium towers, I always maintained if we become the best, we'll make the money.
It'll come as a byproduct.
It'll come anyway. So, but Gary's vision of JR Construction was £50 million turnover over 5 and 100 over 10.
Yep.
At that point, I'm thinking, oh, who is this crackpot? I really did. I'm thinking, oh no. I mean, how do you even finance that? And I'm like, aye. So, fair play to him. Listen, he would have done the 50 had COVID no kicked in.
Yep.
And it's still going strong today. With a couple of difficult years, make no bones about that. We get caught on a couple of jobs, fixed price jobs, stuff like that. But the order book going forward for the next 2 to 3 years is very good. It's looking very healthy, which for scaffold's good because, we've got scaffold, which me and Amri own, so we get the scaffolding.
But just bolts in.
Aye, separate business, but they're all separate. But I've got DC Timber, so we make our own timber kits down in Ayrshire, which is owned by the group. We've got Sprinkler Scotland, so we do, because every social housing needs a sprinkler system. So we kind of we keep it in because we couldn't get kits, we couldn't get a sprinkler company. So touch wood, it's gone right now. It's looking healthy. It's gone all right. Could we be better? There's a lot of things we'd like to change just to get us up to where we want to be. But I'm sure by the end of the year we'll be there.
It's harder. The bigger it becomes, the harder it is to change it. The way it's like the wee tweaks take like a year.
Yes.
Rather than when you're a small business, you go, we're going to change the way we're doing things here, and it's
overnight.
It just happens. A couple of weeks later, everything's all changed. It's just that it takes a bit more time for it to pull through.
Listen, I think the best will in the world. There's things between us we'll probably try and implement before the end of the year. As I say, we've got a lot of good sites. Edinburgh, Hoyk. We're all over. Some really nice jobs, and they're up for free awards for the jobs they've completed. So they're up for free awards in May. They won one last year for a nice job in Carrick Street in there against social housing. Really nice job. So listen, good team there. As I say, it's like everything. You want to polish up every day. You want to be best. You want to be better than the next guy, and they're certainly a lot bigger than us. And I think as long as we don't take our eye off the ball with that and realise where we are on the map and just try and be the best at where we are for now. And who knows? Listen, somebody might come in and chat the door. You never know. But no, so far so good.
Brilliant. And what's next then? What's in the pipeline?
So,
because we managed to get through that 30 years, not too bad.
We did. How can I jump from pillar to post there? Probably this year, Jamie. As I say, it was about giving back. But I think the biggest thing will be for us, and we're just in the process. We're on the edge of doing a deal, which is moving us back to Govan. I'm nervous.
You know, you twinkle in your eye there.
Aye. Listen, you know, I've got a stamp on the top of my back, made in Govan, and I'm glad I got that done when I was a young boy, and I pride myself in that.
Yep.
You know, and Govan's made me who I am today, and it's made Amrie who she is. And I think to a certain extent it's made the kids who they are with the work ethic, because we would never have allowed anything else. So there's a place that we're in talks just now. It's at legals, and hopefully we'll be able to call Govan home again, and I'll be one very proud boy.
It's went full circle. 30 years doing that.
Yep. And to go back to where it all began, again, it's came about by chance. It's just came about by chance, and it lets us take the business back there. It lets us, you know, look at more jobs in the area, get a bit back.
Doesn't it feel like chance? You know, it feels like what you've put out is coming back. You've mentioned that a few times, and I just think
I don't give to get.
Yeah.
None of us do, but I still believe if you're decent in life, I think you get decent things. And there will be bumps in the road. There's no two ways about that, and we've had a few. But I think when I pull off at Helen Street, and again, listen, hopefully by the time this is
live.
It's live. It'll be done. It'll be done. And as I say, myself and Amrie were for the first time in a long time, we're a bit giggly. You know, we're thinking, Jesus, listen, we're also nervous. It's a big move. A very big move. It's like, you know, considering where we are just now, it's 5 times bigger. It's a big move, but it's a big statement, and hopefully it'll be a legacy, you know, for us going forward.
Unbelievable. Well, mate, I think that's us. I think we covered everything, and we got up to where we are today as well.
Aye, we might have a part 2 one day.
Aye, well, hopefully, mate. If it's anything like that, then I thought that was brilliant, and especially just a lot of the time for this podcast as well. It's like I want like young people who come from like them harder backgrounds to actually go, no, this is possible. But not even just that. There's maybe guys that's in business and think going through a hard time or whatever, and that's a bit difficult. And it's like just hearing them wee moments. It's like, well, I'm doing mindset. I'm
doing it in school, a couple of schools, Jamie, where I'm speaking to a couple of kids and I'm saying to them, don't ever let the postcode hold you back. And don't let people hold you back. You know, because G51 area is where I grew up, Crossland Road. Everybody was your auntie and uncle. It was you know, we were all poor, but you were never hungry, because if you're not up the close, and everybody in each land was your auntie, even though they weren't your auntie, you know, but it was that kind of, you know, that togetherness. But the kids I'm speaking to just now, a couple of them, school doesn't work for them, but it doesn't make them a bad person. I left school with nothing because I thought I was going to be the next Alan McCoy. Do you know what I mean? And that's plain and simple.
And the thing is, it didn't even work out that way. But you probably, do you know, you couldn't have really wanted it any other way. I think
I was a better player. I wish. I wish I had his money.
Well, mate, it's been a privilege. Thanks so much for coming on, and I'm sure we'll catch up again in the future soon.
Thanks, pal.
Thank you. Mate.
Cheers, Jamie.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching the episode, guys. I trust that you'll have been as inspired as I was by John's story. I really appreciate all your support. If you can, please subscribe to the channel and help us become the #1 trades podcast.